When Marina returned home from her business trip to Reno, she expected nothing more than a quiet evening. She imagined dropping her luggage by the door, kicking off her heels, drinking a cup of tea, and finally embracing her 15-year-old daughter, Lana. The trip was important, perhaps the most important in her recent career. She had secured the largest contract her company had seen in 2 years, the kind of deal that could propel her toward a regional director position. For a moment, she even allowed herself a small, cautious hope. Maybe now her parents would finally acknowledge her accomplishments, even if they never truly understood her or her choices. But as she pulled into her driveway late that evening, her excitement gave way to unease. The house was completely dark. Normally, Lana left a warm light glowing in the living room whenever she knew her mother was on her way home. It was a small ritual between them, a silent welcome. But now, nothing. Marina's first call went unanswered. So did the second. Her text message delivered instantly but remained unread. An uncomfortable tightness formed in her chest. Lana was responsible, thoughtful, far more so than Marina had been at her age. It wasn't like her to vanish without a word. After checking the house again, Marina felt a sudden intuition tug at her. Lana often spent time at the small park 3 blocks away, sketching, listening to music, or just getting some air. It was safe enough, usually filled with families and joggers. Marina decided to look there, trying to convince herself she was overreacting. When she turned her car into the park's empty parking lot and swept the beams of her headlights across the benches, her heart dropped. There, on the far bench, curled up tightly under only her thin jacket, was her daughter. Asleep. Alone. Using her backpack as a pillow, the sight knocked the breath out of Marina's lungs. She rushed to her daughter, hands shaking, voice cracking as she gently touched her shoulder. Lana startled awake, and when she saw her mother, she broke down, not loudly, but with the quiet, exhausted sobs of someone who had been holding in fear for too long. The explanation came out in pieces, each sentence tightening Marina's throat further. While Marina was away closing the deal, her parents, Lana's grandparents, had shown up unannounced. They said they were just checking in, a phrase they often used as an excuse to exert control. And during their inspection, they noticed that an old commemorative coin belonging to Marina's father was missing from the shelf. Rather than look for it, rather than ask questions, rather than show even an ounce of trust, they accused Lana of stealing it. Not tentatively, not gently. They called her a thief, a disappointment, a problem. Before the terrified girl could explain anything, they told her to get out of their house, claiming they wouldn't harbor a criminal. The words cut deeper than they realized. Not wanting to disturb her mother during such an important trip, Lana took her backpack and went to the only place she felt safe enough to wait, the park. Marina barely remembered the drive home. She only remembered the fury, cold and sharp, burning beneath her ribs. Fury mixed with heartbreak. Her daughter, sleeping on a park bench because her own grandparents threw her out over an accusation they never even tried to verify. That night, something in Marina shifted permanently. The next morning, Marina drove straight to her parents' house. The conversation wasn't optional. It had been delayed for years, maybe decades, and now it demanded to be had. Her mother opened the door with her usual stiff composure, as if nothing unusual had happened. Her father sat in his armchair, looking irritated rather than guilty, as though Marina's presence was an inconvenience. Her mother launched into an explanation before Marina could speak, recounting how the coin was gone, how they had disciplined Lana accordingly, and how children needed to learn consequences. There was no remorse, no hesitation, only self-righteous certainty. But as they talked, Marina noticed something strange. The entire story felt off. The missing coin wasn't worth much. It held sentimental value, but certainly not enough to justify such cruelty. And her parents kept referring to other things Lana had supposedly done, none of which had ever happened. Finally, with growing suspicion, Marina asked a simple question. Why were you even looking through her room? Her mother froze for a fraction of a second. Her father's expression tightened. That was the moment the cracks appeared. The truth came together slowly, but the final piece dropped into place when Marina's father slipped and mentioned something about Dylan's situation and needing money. Dylan, her nephew, her sister Heather's son, a boy her parents worshipped. The golden child, the one who could do no wrong, even when he frequently did exactly that. Marina stepped back mentally, connecting dots she'd tried to overlook for years. The favoritism, the blind excuses, the financial bailouts. The constant pressure on Marina to help since you're the responsible one. That was when Heather burst in, clearly having been called to join the confrontation. And with her came the truth Marina didn't expect, but somehow always feared. Dylan had recently gotten into trouble, again. And this time, he needed money fast. Not for school expenses, not for medical bills, but because he had sold their father's entire stamp collection to an antique shop without permission. Stamps their father had spent 40 years collecting. Stamps he once promised to pass down to Marina, insisting she was the only one who appreciated history the way he did. Suddenly, the accusations against Lana made sense. They needed a scapegoat, a distraction, a way to divert blame from perfect, irreplaceable Dylan. Marina stared at her family, feeling something hollow out inside her. The betrayal wasn't a single event. It was a pattern, a lifelong tapestry woven out of small humiliations and quiet dismissals. But this was the moment the tapestry unraveled completely. Heather tried to justify Dylan's behavior, insisting he was under pressure and made a mistake. Their mother chimed in, scolding Marina for believing her own daughter over family, despite the fact that Lana was also family. Once again, they twisted everything, as if Marina was supposed to sacrifice her daughter's dignity just to keep their fragile illusions intact. But Marina felt clarity settle over her like a final, silent truth. She was done. Truly, finally done. Her parents were stunned when she calmly announced that she would no longer be financially supporting any of them. No more loans, no more emergency transfers, no more stepping in every time Dylan destroyed something or Heather got in over her head. She wasn't their safety net, she wasn't their wallet, and she certainly wasn't going to let them continue harming her daughter. Her mother sputtered in disbelief, insisting they only wanted what was best. Her father accused her of being dramatic. Heather accused her of attacking the family. Marina didn't argue. She simply told them the truth. The only family she needed to protect was Lana. She left the house without looking back, feeling strangely weightless. As though she had been carrying a load for so long, she forgot what it felt like not to. She drove home, walked inside, and found Lana sitting on the couch with the sketchbook in her lap. The girl looked up, tentative, unsure of where things stood. Marina hugged her daughter tightly, promising her that she was safe, she was loved, and she would never again be punished for someone else's sins. Over the next days, weeks, and months, Marina rebuilt her household with new boundaries and a new sense of purpose. She focused on her career. She spent time with Lana, real time, not rushed between obligations. She created a home where her daughter didn't have to fear judgment or favoritism. Her parents tried to reach out at first, demanding apologies, instinct Marina was being unreasonable. When that didn't work, they tried guilt, then anger, then silence. But Marina held firm. For the first time, she saw the full picture clearly. Their approval had been a mirage he had chased for years, but it had never been real. And it had never been worth sacrificing herself or her daughter. Lana flourished. Her confidence grew. She smiled more, laughed more, spoke her mind without fear. And every time Marina saw her daughter thriving, she felt a warm certainty settle in her heart. She had made the right choice, the only choice. And though the road ahead was still unclear, one thing was certain. Their little family, just the two of them, was stronger than the entire house she had left behind. Stronger, healthier, safer, finally free.